How to love yourself so much that nobody's absence bothers you. See, there's this journal entry from my high school years, and it reflects on a time when I was deeply invested in changing myself to fit in and gain the approval of others. I was constantly seeking external validation and believing that my happiness and self-worth were somehow tied to the presence of certain people in my life. Their absence often left me feeling empty and even unsure about myself. Now, looking back, I can confidently say that I've grown and moved past that. And a lot has been about shifting mindset. Throughout my life, I've struggled with anxious attachment. If someone I care about or even just wanted to talk to is absent, whether for a day or just a few minutes, it tends to hit me harder than it should. And over the years, though I've made noticeable progress in this area, but I want to stress this. It's not because I'm some naturally independent person or because I've magically figured everything out, this progress that I'm talking about. It's because I've changed the way I see things, which is a powerful but often overlooked tool for growth. I came across this quote recently that really struck me. You love yourself so deeply that no one's absence can disturb you. Profound, right? So to be honest, it hit me harder than I anticipated, especially because I often talk about self-love and self-respect, yet for a long time I wasn't fully practicing it. And I would tell others to love themselves, but when someone disappeared from my life or didn't show me interest, it still deeply affected me. Now, it wasn't until I read that quote out loud to myself and I truly reflected on it that I realized the fundamental shift needed to make was just around the corner. I needed to love myself so much that if someone chose to leave or to be absent, I could remain peaceful and centered in my own worth. And what an amazing decision that was to make. I would still be whole regardless of what others did or didn't do. Now, looking back, I used to panic over little things like not getting a response to a text or worrying if someone didn't like me. I felt insecure and uncomfortable in my own skin, as they say, and the lack of self-assurance would spill over into my relationships. Over time, though, as I grew and matured, I began to understand that those feelings didn't need to control me. So today I can say with confidence that I no longer let those worries dominate my thoughts. But this didn't happen overnight. It took practice and it took real self-reflection. So take a moment. Think about a time when someone's absence bothered you. See, I'll share an example from my own life. There were countless moments when I was left on red or delivered by a girl I liked or a group of friends, and each time my mind would spiral, doubting my worth. Why didn't they talk to me? What was I annoying or unworthy of their attention? The spiraling of anxiety would intensify to the point that I actually wanted to change myself, to become someone who was universally liked by everybody. I still have memory from high school where I wrote about wanting to change everything about myself. I thought that if I could somehow mold myself into a person who was easy for everybody to like, I would finally feel at peace with myself. But as I reflect on that now and in the past dozen or so years, I can see how far I've come. Though remnants of that mindset still sometimes show up, I no longer see myself changing to please others as the solution. Now, I'm not sharing this to invite sympathy or to make anybody feel bad for me. Rather, I'm opening up because I know what it's like to constantly seek approval, to try and fit into molds that were never meant for you. The desire to change for external validation became the catalyst for my self-growth. Many people embark on their self-improvement journey for similar reasons. They want to fit in, be accepted, or be liked. But what most of us eventually learn is that trying to change ourselves for others will never bring lasting peace or fulfillment. Here's what I've learned. Growth for someone else isn't real. When you try to change to meet someone else's expectations, you are not growing. You're simply becoming a version of yourself that actually isn't truly you. And that's a waste of time and a waste of energy. Real growth comes from a place of self-awareness, self-love, and a desire to improve your own well-being. Not because you think it will make you more likable or acceptable to others. The biggest shift I've experienced in my mindset happened when I realized that growth had to be about me, not about anybody else. I needed to love myself for who I am without the approval of others. I stopped trying to change because I thought it would fix my relationships or make others like me more. Instead, I started to change for myself. I wanted to be a better person for the sake of my own happiness and personal growth, and this is the best decision that you can make. So let me ask you, why are you on this journey of self-improvement? Is it for you? Or is it because of someone else? Are you looking to change so others will like you more? If so, you're missing the point. Real self-love isn't about avoiding the discomfort that comes with someone's absence or trying to fit into others' expectations. It's about loving yourself because you deserve it, not because it makes you more acceptable to others. Think back to that kid in high school who hated reading. I'm sure we all know somebody who fit that description. Maybe it was even you. That kid never read the assigned books, rarely participated in class, and didn't seem interested. But at some point, that kid developed a love for reading. Not because they had to, but because they found books that spoke to them personally. They read because it was something they genuinely enjoyed, not because anybody forced them to. And I can relate to that. When I was in high school, when I was in junior high, when I was in elementary school, I hated reading, not because I generally disliked books, but because I had to do it for a grade. I wasn't reading for myself, but when I started reading for personal enjoyment, I began understanding the magic of books. I began reading a book a week. A book a week. For somebody who didn't like reading prior. I was reading because I wanted to. And I'm not talking about small books. I'm talking about hundreds of pages in a week. And that shift made all the difference in the world. As a similar transformation happened with cleaning. See, when I was younger, chores felt like a burden because they were something my parents told me to do. But now I've developed into a genuine passion. I enjoy organizing and cleaning my space, not because anybody told me to, but because it helps me feel more at peace with my environment and myself. I can eat off the floor where I am. It's peaceful. There's nothing out of place. If you want to love yourself so deeply that no one's absence can disturb you, you have to reach a point where your self-love isn't about avoiding the pain of loss. It has to come from within. If you're on this journey to improve for somebody else, whether to get over them or to become more likable to them, your foundation is shaky. Trust me, when something happens with that person, your whole foundation will collapse. But if you're in a place where you're ready to rebuild, starting from a foundation of self-love, then you're in that right place. Real growth begins when you make the decision to grow for yourself. So ask yourself, why do you want to improve? Is it for you or is it for somebody else? Thank you for watching. Take care and peace out.